What's up, everybody? How are you guys doing tonight?
Hello, how is everybody?
Hello.
I feel like
How
our new
is
intro
everybody?
song.
Dance party.
It's a great song. It's a great song.
Oh my goodness.
All right, welcome to the Harbor Cast. We are excited to be here tonight. We have, some of the most amazing people I know in this room right now. Some of the most amazing people I know, and so it's gonna be fun. We're gonna talk about some of the blessings and some of the challenges, and I just thought we would also just talk about, some of the amazing things that we're seeing God do here at Angels Harbor. In 2 weeks from tonight, we will have our dear friend Mike Sajo will be with us. He's going to come and talk to us and tell us about the stuff that he's doing and at the place he's working, because part of what we want this to be is a place where people can be connected to resources. So if they need help with something,
Yeah.
they can come check it out on here and find out what they need. So tell me what's been going on in your guys' lives.
Go ahead, Ashley.
Working.
You been working?
Yes. Working.
What else?
Churching.
Churching and working. Speaking
Yeah.
of, we had an interesting week at church last week.
We did.
Yeah, so at church last week, we had church 8 times in 8 days. I counted 8 times in 8 days.
Twice on Sunday.
Twice on Sunday, twice, and then we had 4 other days straight, Monday through Thursday, which was really good.
Yeah, it was good.
What did you guys get out of that?
Well, I think for me, personally, and we shared this with some other people that, as leaders of the church, we obviously play roles in making sure everything functions and, everybody is doing what they're supposed to do for the guests. And not that we don't have an experience ourselves, but there's can be, not pressure, I guess, but, it's different, completely different than just getting up and church starts at 10:30 and walking in the door at 10:25 and finding a seat and then leaving, you know? So there's a lot of responsibility that comes with it, which is great. But it means that you have to be intentional to make sure that you are getting what you need.
Yeah.
We have to be intentional, I guess I should say. So during those 4 days, there was no agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just worship and prayer. And, the media team didn't have to arrange the lights and the cameras and all the things. And we just got to come in and kind of open up the church and worship and pray. And so it was refreshing for me personally because we didn't have all the responsibility. So that was great. And sometimes we need that. We don't get it as often as we probably should, but life is busy and we're busy. So I think that it definitely was just kind of like a reset. And also it was now, I believe, that we will all be more intentional about having those kind of nights at our church.
Yeah.
Because we have tried to do some before and, life is busy and everybody has kids and work and schedules. And so Tim actually said this, like when we did it spontaneous, because on Sunday night, he kind of like jokingly said, like,
Yeah, it was a joke. I didn't think we were really going to do it.
said like, we'll have service tomorrow night. On Monday. And then on Monday, he was like, no, like for real.
We're really going to have it. Tricked y'all.
So
we're really having it.
Everybody was like, I guess we all just like work better under pressure, maybe.
Yeah.
And we're like,
well,
spontaneous.
If you give people a chance to say no, they're going to say no. Too.
Yeah.
And it's not like a bad thing. It's just the way people are conditioned. Like for most people, given the opportunity to not do something, a lot of people will take that.
Yeah. So if we set it the date out and Tim would have been like, okay, in 2 weeks on Monday night, we're going to have service. I'm sure half the people that were there
wouldn't have been
had a reason to not be there.
Yeah.
So when on Monday he was like, let's do it. And we're like, let's do it.
Yeah.
So it was really good. So I'm hoping that will kind of like fuel all of us to do that more often, just because you know what the outcome will be.
Right. Yeah, I think so. And it was cool because it was very spontaneous, and there was no agenda. There was no, it wasn't about making sure that the sound was good or anything like
Yeah.
that. It was just about God's presence, and I
Yeah.
love that. And I just feel like it's important, like for everybody, even as a staff at Angels Harbor. I think it's important for people to be spiritually strong enough to be able to handle
Yeah.
whatever the world's going to throw at them, because it will throw a lot of stuff, especially in this field. You'll have a lot of okey dokes, and you'll have a lot of stuff that you don't expect to happen. And so I just
Yeah.
think it's important for for our staff to be able to understand that they can't pour from an empty cup. They have to go get filled back up so
Mhm.
that they can function in everything God made them to be. Because the day that we start pouring from an empty cup is the day that slowly, things will start just decreasing.
Yeah.
And so,
So,
yeah.
that
What'd
was
you
good.
get, Ashley?
A lot, really. I know there was a lot of breakthrough there
Mhm.
throughout those days, and for me, it was just so peaceful. And I know that I definitely needed it, but just watching like our sober living girls and
Yeah.
our Angels Harbor girls, like, and then coming to group with them on Monday or
Yeah.
Tuesday and Wednesday, they were just so pumped up and
Yeah.
so happy and couldn't wait to go back the next night, and trying to switch our schedules around from work so that they could be there and not have
Yeah.
to miss it. And that stuff to me is like what like fuels my fire. Like
Yeah. That's really cool.
seeing them, so excited, and actually, chains falling off and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It is cool because it was, I don't know, because you can't teach people hunger.
Right.
You can be hungry and it might provoke them to it, but you can't teach people to be hungry. And it wasn't like this thing where, it was like you have to, you can't miss this. It was
Yeah.
like if they had to work, they had to work, but they were very intentional about being there. And I just think that says a lot. You guys, we talk a lot about it, and it's probably, to me, I've been thinking about it a lot lately. The most important thing that has to be consistent is the culture of
Yeah.
what we have, and and the standard. And I just think that, like, you don't have to, once it's set and people just carry it out, you don't have to like go coerce people to do it. They just understand what the heart is,
Yeah.
which gives us a benefit, I think, over a lot of businesses that open up. Is before we opened, we had this very, very close bond between a lot of the people, most of the people that started there. And since then, even the people that were new to it have become like family, and they've grown. And so it's like, that part of it, having that, all those spiritual experiences together as a staff or as a family or whatever you want to call it, really, I think, makes it a unique thing, because we know that our staff are being poured into. And I just think you can see the fruit of that.
Yeah.
So good.
I agree. So I wanted to share something that happened. As you guys know, or if you don't know, after the ladies graduate from Angels Harbor, which is 90 days, they have the option to go on to transitional living. So one of our first girls that was there actually bought a car today.
Yeah, that was
And-
awesome. Huh?
So not that, I think that they realize too that when they go there, a lot of times I think people in treatment, whether it's 28 days or 90 days or even 6 months, whatever the time limit is, they think that because they're kind of in a bubble and they're secluded from the rest of the world, basically, besides,
Mhm.
Going to church and meetings and stuff like that. So it's like, I'm good. I got this,
Right.
And then we have seen them as they move on to transitional living, and they're trying to, start being adults and productive members of society and get a job and, jump through all of the hoops to get their license back and get their kids and all of the things that they have to do. So it has been awesome to watch them kind of like just do it, you know? And it has also helped us, because I always knew that like transitional living was important, but I've obviously never like witnessed like, okay, you go from here at 90 days, like I saw this particular person like the first day that she came in, and then to
Right.
now.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we see, and now we can share with the girls that are still in residential treatment. Like, I know that you think you've got it, and I think that you've got it too, but they forget or they just don't know, simply because they've never been sober before.
Right.
So they think that everything's good. Anyway, so she moved on to transitional living, and not that it's been easy, it was my point and all of that. But she pushed through, and she's been working really hard and saving her money and saving extra money, and she was able to buy a car, which was really awesome. And
that is awesome.
That's good. Those girls are like so goal oriented, and
Yeah.
I love it. We
Yeah.
really have a good group of
Yeah.
girls up there.
Yeah.
But they're just setting goals and knocking them out.
That's beautiful what you just said, because like, you know, it's just not, I think that it's like very missional minded in the fact of like, we do really, you know, have them set realistic goals and then big dream goals, and they accomplish them.
Yeah.
And so I just think that's amazing. It's like, there's like, to me, it's like there's this purpose through all of it. You know what I mean? It's never just like, you know, let's stick them in there and just see what happens. No,
Yeah.
it's like there's a intention in every part of what they do. And
Yeah.
so it was cool to see, you know, and the young lady that got a car, it's her first car ever.
Yeah.
And so
Good.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is, man. God is so good. So it's just cool to be able to witness stuff like that, because, you know, it's not every day you get to see stuff like that happen in people's lives.
No,
Yeah.
it is good.
And we have another one that they moved in together at the same time. And she has enough money. After tomorrow, she will have enough money to buy a car also. And she may have had a car before, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think she has.
But it's still cool to see, because it wasn't like they came out of residential treatment. They're like, okay, I'm going to save money to buy a car. As you tell them things and you like, okay, if you do this and you do this and you do this, you'll be able to buy a car. And they're like, really?
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
that's kind of like a big responsibility, and it's not something that comes easily.
Right.
So the light kind of came on, I know, for the girl that got a car today, when she realized, like, okay,
Yeah.
like I can do that.
Yep.
And she was like, she's been on it, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
for
she
several
has.
months.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I think what we'll do tonight is going to be a little bit different. Is I think we're going to not that, you know, if somebody calls, cool. We're going to open the phone lines. We're going to actually open them up like from now through the rest of the show, and if somebody calls, we'll talk. And if not, cool. Because I think I've noticed that when we wait till the very end, it's just you know, a lot of people are that by that time are you know, like the show's almost over, so we don't really have much time. So we're going to put the number up, and you can call the number that's on the screen right now, and we would love to hear from you. We would love to hear what God has been doing in your life. Also, what has been some of the challenges and what has been some of the blessings of your recovery story, and that's what I thought we would talk about too. So today is 9 years for me.
do the
Oh, that's the one.
wrong one.
I hit the wrong one. That's not it. There we go. There we go. 9 years. It's crazy. I never in a million years would have dreamed that you know, like my life would be what it is today. So, you know, even thinking back 9 years ago to the broken state that I was in, it's just crazy to think of like that process, and it's starting to go by, you know, faster. It's starting
really
to go by
is.
like really fast. It's like we're like in a different dimension since COVID happened.
I
And
think
so,
we are.
but just to think of like, you know, but as it goes by faster, it's like, you know, there's so much more happening. And
Yeah.
I think that's why it goes by faster, because
think
it's
so,
not
too.
any longer just like trying to build towards something.
Yeah.
We're now walking in like the promises
Yeah.
that God had, you know, from years back that took a while to get to. So that's the part that I think is amazing, is like, you know, to have a beautiful family, 2 beautiful little boys. That was, there was 2 things, you know what, listen, if y'all, the prophetic is real. I'm going to tell you, I had a prophecy one time that told me I would have this pastor told me he saw my wife and that she had blonde hair and blue eyes. And at the time I was dating a Hispanic girl. So,
Wah, wah, wah.
and so, you know, and then God obviously, you know, connected me to my wife now, and we saw that pastor a couple years ago, and got to go up to him and be like, "Hey, meet my wife." But also there was, someone also told me one time, like, "I see you playing with your 2 little boys," and so you hear that stuff, and even like people get words, or they have these aspirations and dreams, but the reality of them seems so much further than what it really is. A lot of times, it's not always as far away as you think it is, and so just to be able to walk in that now and see those promises that were given back then happen. The promises of what is Angels Harbor, the promises of, like everything that all the amazing people we have in our church, the church that we have that is absolutely amazing and it's growing, and there's a bunch of awesome people there. It's just crazy, man. Yeah. It is, because you could be there thinking like, it's just, my life's just mediocre, and it don't have to be. That's not the reality of what God desires for your life. Now, what is great to everybody might be different, but that doesn't mean that you can't live a great, abundant life, because that is his desire for you. He wants you to be blessed. He wants you to have the desires of your heart, as long as that's in line with the will that he has for your life. So it's good.
It's good.
Yeah. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you guys find even now? So 9 years in, and you are how many years in?
About to be 5.
About to be 5. Come on now. There we go. Yeah. It's that last guy always going longer than he should. And then Abby, my beautiful wife, just hit 8 years the other day. So, yeah. So what's some of the challenges that you guys have found throughout this process? Even now, because it's not so much now about worrying about like putting a needle in your arm, but what are the challenges now?
Go ahead.
For me, it's probably balance, maybe, because I'm like so passionate about what I do that I get caught up in, worrying about clients, and they leave sometimes, and then I'm like out, running the streets trying to find them and feed them, and but it's so rewarding. It's literally like working in this field is like the most mentally straining but yet rewarding thing in the world.
Yeah.
And we meet people and you just want them to get it so badly, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, and it's hard to not hurt whenever that they're not doing well, but also like just like our client that just got a car, like I love that stuff. I love hearing like I get to see my kids Saturday, or I got a job, or like just seeing that hope come back in them. And my favorite thing is when I get to tell people, like, just 5 years ago I was homeless, doing drugs, and now like my life is amazing.
Yeah.
And so it gives hope, and but those girls honestly help me just as much as we help them.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's very true. They do. I think that's one of the big blessings of it is, at times, and it fluctuates there, we could have like 27 girls in our care at one time. 27 girls.
Which is stressful.
Yeah, can be.
Girls.
Trying to coordinate.
27.
Trying to coordinate, how they're getting places, and just all that type of stuff. But, man, do they like have just a passion in them. It's just absolutely amazing. And so, it's just amazing. And some of them's even graduated and moved on and have apartments around here locally and still stay connected. So it's really cool, man, because it's like God's literally using that to raise up an army to be able to see, my belief, like, transformation come into our community.
Yeah. I would say one of the challenges, and this kind of goes along with what Ashley said, and I'm sure a lot of people that are in recovery, that work in recovery, can relate, that it's like, and I don't know if this is just like a further along type of thing, because in the beginning, it's like Tim was saying, like the first couple of years, like especially that first year, that's like everybody's goal, is like, I want to make it to 1 year. That's like the first big like milestone,
Yeah.
And then from there, you know, I remember year 2 and 3. And then after that, not that it didn't become such as big of a deal, but it really wasn't, because people started to like trust me again and not worry so much. So now, like 8 years into it and helping them, it's easy sometimes to, I don't really know how to say this. Not that like, obviously I would ever stop doing what I'm doing now, or, you know, but it's like I worry so much about them and like making sure that they get it, that it's easy to forget about yourself. And easy to not take time for yourself and do all those things. But it's like, okay, now it's time to just like put all the focus on them. And that obviously cannot be the case, but it's easy to do if you get caught up in it, especially with like the stress and all the things that happen, which is all good. It's not bad. It's just what comes with it. It's just busy. And so yeah, I was gonna say something else. Can't remember. Oh, and like when you see them come in and you like build connections and bonds with these people, and you see in them what they can't see in themselves, and then you watch them leave. And I guess that's not like personal, but it kind of is personal, because you have to get to a place that's like there's, you know, healthy attachments to people, and not building these unhealthy attachments to people that you don't have any control over, because they leave and they're not thinking about me. Obviously, I wasn't thinking about my mom and the other people that were worrying about me when I was getting high. You know, I was like, why are you worried about me? I'm fine.
I think just boundaries, like, you know, just having healthy boundaries, which is not always, you know, that word is much easier to say a lot of times than it is to do.
When you're involved in like intimate parts of their lives, and you watch them, it's hard to do that. And
it is
like, just let them walk out the door and not know if they're going to make it, or go to visit them in the hospital and them tell you like, I want help, and then leave, you know? So that is rough. And I think that you have to get to a place, not where your heart is like hardened, but you just
guarded.
And it's that stuff doesn't bother you as much. It doesn't bother me as much now as it would have a couple years ago.
I mean, and the thing is, it usually does in the beginning, but after a while you come to learn, like, if you would just like carry everybody's crap around you, then you're going to literally drown in just all of the heaviness of it. And so it's like, you know, and I can remember that in the beginning of helping people, like carrying their losses. And it's not that you don't care if, you know, like, it's not like, it's not a lack of caring, but it's like a boundary saying, okay, my job is to plant seeds. God's job is to increase those seeds. And so, you know, just knowing that, like, even if they walk out the door, you know, unexpectedly, AMA, it's not necessarily anybody's fault. It's just, you know, I always think of it like, you know, and we've seen this happen so many times where there were seeds planted and they come back and they walk out, but then they end up coming back because of the seeds planted. So, you know, it's like just knowing that, you know, none of that's in anybody's control. If you work in the field, it can be an easy thing to do, to begin to like allow their heaviness to be your heaviness and their burden to be your burden. But if you do that, you will burn out so quickly. You'll never sustain in doing this.
That's one thing that I've always been like, I don't know, had pride in, was that I am able to like not get close to them. But here lately, man, there's been a couple that just pull my heartstrings. Yes.
I haven't heard that one.
I don't either.
Yeah, they do. And that was for me. They do. They begin to, like, you know, it's impossible not to, like, you know, look at them and in some ways be like, you know, this is like, feels like a daughter or something, you know, at times. And so, you know, I just think that, and that's just going to be part of it. It's just like, you know, such a preparation too. It makes you understand on a small micro scale some of what, you know, your parents would have went through, going through some of the stuff that they went through with you. But, you know, it's much deeper, obviously, being your kid. So I think that's good. So you guys out there, if you want to call in, we would love to hear from you. We have, you know, like an amazing topic tonight. We'd love to hear what are some of your blessings and what are some of your challenges as whether you work in the field or are in recovery. etc. And we just think that like it's good to share these experiences because there could be people that hear them that's going through the same exact challenge that you may face in your life. It's the same concept, of any testimony is proof that God can do it. And so, So how do you guys, what do you do to separate yourself from the emotional side of it where it doesn't like drown you? And what are the things you do personally to make sure that you are, strong enough to be able to carry what it is that God has for you?
Well, I think that, not that, well, because of the roles that we play there, that it ever actually like, you can't ever actually like shut it off, but like mentally, I've kind of like trained my brain, and I was always good at this before Angels Harbor also, at my other job, that when it was time for me to leave, and I loved that job. It wasn't the job. It was just like kind of who I am as a person. When I knew that it was time for me to clock out, like I'm out. I'm not hanging around. I don't want to stand in the parking lot and talk to you. I am out of here.
I don't know what's that like? I've never had that ever. I mean, after Christ, of course.
In the mines.
Yeah, in the mines. I could just clock out and go home and, almost fall asleep on my way home after working.
Whipping those rock trucks around.
Yeah.
What's that like?
Yeah.
I kind of forget what it's like now.
I've never had a job that ends, I don't think.
Yeah.
Since I've came into the kingdom at least.
But at some point, at least for me, it turns into, it's like a lifestyle. It's like it's not a job ever. Do I feel like I'm going to work? It's like I got to get up and go in here because I got all of these people and things to do, and I want to help them. And I'm terrible though. Like I'm at home, which, like you said, the positions that we're in, we really can't do that. But I suck at it. I'm like, tomorrow, everybody call Abby. And then at 8 a.m., I'm like answering questions in the chat. It's hard.
It is hard.
Yeah.
So I think that you have to get to like a place like mentally where, not that the problems ever stop when you walk out, but with kids and all the other things that we have going on, it's kind of maybe comes a little bit easier because you're busy doing other stuff, and I'm not like a work at home type of gal. I am like a work at work type of person. Like, I don't take my computer in my house, which is just the complete opposite of Ashley. She will pull out her computer and start doing work at home at like 8 o'clock at night, which I do not know how she does that. Like, I have to be at a desk with, like dressed in clothes, showered, ready for the day to like work. Like, I'm in work mode. So I don't really have a problem with that. But anyway, so obviously like being involved in our church and attending church and then doing things like on my own time. And lately I've been, because I'm also a person, which I wish I was this person. I wish I was the type of person that got up at like 5:30 in the morning and showered and drank my coffee and read devotionals. But I'm just not that person. I will never be that person. So at work, I tried to like shut my door and I lock myself in there because if not, people will just keep coming in. So I just locked my door and like tried to take some time for myself, even at work, because I'm allowed to do that. But so that is helpful to me, like having my own, even though I'm at work, but just like taking some time for myself. And then at night, if it's possible, but since we had a baby, it's a little bit harder to have those.
You had the baby, I'm just saying.
You helped make the baby, okay? We had a baby. It's harder to do that stuff because
it is. Yeah.
He's crazy.
Yeah,
So,
unless you stay up till like 2 or 3, like I do.
and I can't do that either because then I have to get up at 6:30 ish.
Yeah. So yeah.
Sometimes 8.
Yeah. Mine's the opposite. And I don't. And that's the thing too. Like I don't sleep till like noon, but like I do stay up later at night, and I feel like that's the best time of the day because it's so quiet. Everybody's asleep, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just so much easier to read and focus and get stuff done when it's, like quiet and there's not you don't have to worry about your, like your phone going off 100 times or group chats popping off, and it's just like, it's pretty silent. And then the other thing, I've been doing lately is like on my iPad I don't have Messenger or messages or email
That's
or
nice, yeah.
none of that stuff. And so if I'm doing stuff on there, I'll just like go put my phone up and not mess with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, AB?
I'm terrible in this department. Actually, the other night I did put my phone up. Abby was worried. And I was.
Oh yeah,
She
that's
had
when I was trying to
died.
get a hold of you. Yeah,
Nobody could get a hold of me.
Yeah. I was on my
and I
way to your
just-
house.
I've been trying to be a lot more intentional with that. Just taking time for myself and, doing things. But sometimes it's hard. I have a 14-year or 15-year-old daughter that, she's at that age where I get home and I'm exhausted and she's like ready to go at the door. Like,
Yeah.
can we
What
go
are we gonna
here?
do?
Yeah. And so that's kind
Because
of.
she's homeschooled. She's
Yeah,
homeschooled,
yeah.
so
she's
she got all the energy.
ready to get out the door. But yeah, there's honestly between, being a program director and being like in leadership at the church, there's not a lot of free time, but
Mhm.
neither one of those things feel like
Right.
work. Like I enjoy doing both
I would
of the
agree
things.
with that.
So
Yeah.
it's not like a burden
Yeah.
at all.
I was telling Ashley or somebody this the other day that I also like am just kind of like everything needs to be like on the schedule, not like Ashley she has about 7 planners for every different area of her life. I'm not like that, but it's like if my day gets thrown off, if I don't get to if it's like a Wednesday and something happens and I can't go to work, then like I do not like that. I want to be able to like do what I had in my head the night before. So, and also an advantage of all of these people looking up to you is that there's like pressure, not in a bad way. It's good pressure to like be better,
Yeah.
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
you have to keep educating yourself and keep pressing into your relationship with God and keep learning more because all of these other people are looking up to you. Like you're
Mhm.
supposed to be teaching me things.
Yeah.
So, I know that Ashley the other night made, on her own, it was really good, a Bible study to do with them. So, I know that in some way that helped you also.
Oh yeah,
it,
definitely. Which all stemmed from your sermon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just one
Priscilla and
scripture.
Aquila.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go and tell us about Priscilla and Aquila.
I gotta save that. They're not in the Bible very much.
Not very much at all. How many verses did you say it was?
4.
4 verses.
Me and the girls are doing, the sober living girls are doing we're doing projects like on poster boards of women in the Bible, and then we're gonna make them nice and share them with our group, and then they're gonna take them down to the residential. And
Oh,
that'll be good.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I do. I love that.
Are they,
I love that they have a heart to go back down there and like pour into the girls in residential too.
yeah, they like doing that.
they
Yeah.
actually took that Bible study that I made because they've been going down and pouring into the girls on Wednesdays, and they took that and did it with them.
Today.
So I was
That
like,
is
"Aw."
amazing.
Yeah.
That's
It's
nice.
so good. And it's so beautiful. It is. Just imagine what it's going to be like, 5 years from now. How many girls there'll be
I know.
That kind of stress.
connect.
Oh, I mean, like,
Well, the thing with growth is there's always growth of new leaders
Yeah.
too. So yeah, so it'll be good.
Yeah.
It'll be just based off of that. We'll have to get a new church
yeah.
or just have their own
For
Angels
real.
Harbor service every Sunday. Yeah, it'll be good. Man, that's crazy to think about, but it will be good. I can't wait. But yeah, I love that too because and that's one thing. It's like keeping that same heart that's there now, no matter how big it gets, keeping that, and so that is something that we're going to be very intentional about. But it's like you just don't want to lose that because what makes it so special is that's what
Yeah.
makes the program so stinking special is like the heart of the people, and
Yeah.
you can't always you can't teach certain things. They're just natural.
Right.
And so
You know what else is crazy? That very quickly we are approaching 1 year.
yeah, no, I
It's
mean,
so exciting.
like literally in
3 months.
3 months, we're 9 months into this. That's wild. 9 months.
It wa-
Literally went by so
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah,
It was like I think I've lived
I
life.
know.
yeah, yeah. It has
Like
went by.
Like the growth. Like I was thinking about that today when I walked through the group and the windows were open. I'm like, it feels like right before summer. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I was like, things didn't seem so stressful then. But they were in the time because we were just starting and
Yeah.
learning and doing things. And
Yeah, 1 year
Oh.
ago today.
That's not the one. That's the one.
I think this is about the time that we started like going there in the evenings and just like little by little like
Yeah.
doing stuff.
Well, it was, so it would have been March, like right around this time last year's when I would have, like stepped away and began heading towards Angels Harbor, stepping away from my old job. And, man, that's wild to think about but I will say the first couple months, just because everything was so like trying to get it going, it went by kind of slow. I feel like the first 2 months, I feel like drug by. And then it was like after that when things started
It just
rolling. Once we
Yeah.
got to our first graduates, it was like, I feel like since then it's just been like boom, 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 boom.
I
Mhm.
think we're having our 24th on Friday.
24th. Wow.
I think.
And
it's
so
like 23 or 24.
you told me not long ago our graduation success rate percentage. So what is it now? If we've had 24, how many are still sober today?
I think there's just one.
there's 3.
3.
No, I mean one more from last time.
One
Mhm.
more? Well, no, there's been like yeah.
That has
think it's been a
That's
couple.
not doing well.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
think we
I
have
think
like
we've had like 4
4 or 5
yeah,
total.
4 or 5 more with one, maybe. Okay. Yeah, which is still amazing. Like at that point it was what,
You know-
75%?
Yes. You know that we are on client number 98?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we're almost to 100
Wow, that's crazy. That is
Uh,
insane.
Yeah.
in less than a year. That's
Oh my gosh. I
100
can remember the
assessments.
first 3 felt like they were there for 3 months just them.
Yeah.
Wow. 99? 8.
98.
Wow.
I think that
That's
Um,
crazy.
you don't hear of like success rates at 75%.
You
Yeah,
don't
we
hear
don't.
of success rates at 75%.
And obviously we know that that's going to fluctuate in
Yeah.
Yeah.
times, but to just start off and have that, like I'm proud of that. And I know it's because of what we do.
Yeah.
Like we're not normal.
Yeah. And we
And-
never will be.
No,
We don't want to be normal.
no, because saving 20 out of 25 girls is
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
But it is true though.
Yeah.
Like I think the uniqueness of it is something that I will personally never allow to be robbed from it. Like I don't care, who comes in and says what, they will not change like what makes it special. Our church makes it super special.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Our people in our church pouring into those girls make it
Yeah.
super special. Those girls serving at our church makes it super special. And I just think that all of that in combination has created this beautiful, amazing program that is like this model that I truly believe will be, it will be copied throughout
Yeah.
multiple states. And I think that, like one day, we're going to continue obviously pushing it through Ohio. One day, we're going to bring it to West Virginia. And I just think that, like if we keep that, it will always be what God intended it to be. And we'll always see like, the national average of success rates, like usually 10 to 12%.
Yeah.
10 to 12%.
That's crazy.
And so it's great. It is.
They say, with kids, like it takes a village to raise them up.
Mhm.
And that's the exact same
Yeah.
for us. Like it takes so many people from the church and the community and
Yeah.
other pastors and whoever, like just pouring into them. And
Mhm.
Yeah. That's
And-
so true.
So last year before we opened, we planted a garden, and so we're gonna do the same thing this year. It was a
Don't
little-
do
it
it.
was a
Don't
little
do the
hectic.
garden.
by
Okay.
we, she means her.
we are gonna do it. We are this year. But
Uh,
with that, this lady that lives like close, that I don't know. I mean she just like heard about us, and she stopped by one day and said that she's about to retire and asked if she could come teach them how to can. And I was like, sure. I think that is cool and a life skill that
Yeah.
everybody should know. I don't even know how to
I
can
don't
stuff.
either.
I'm
Well,
coming. I'm gonna learn. And
if the zombie apocalypse ever happens,
we'll be
you'll
set.
be prepared.
Yeah.
I'm going to Angels
So
Harbor.
she ordered all of the stuff that you need, all of the equipment that you need to can, and it was delivered. And if you know anything about
That
healing,
lady did?
yeah,
Wow.
it's not cheap.
Wow.
And she was just like, here you go. And if anybody else wants to teach them too, they can use it. And I was like,
Wow.
wow. So it's like
crazy.
things like that make it special. Obviously us being like, yeah, that's amazing. Cause I
Yeah.
think that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, not like a knock on any other place, but you know, some people that are like directly in charge of a facility don't necessarily have the authority to make decisions like that.
Right.
So I think that that's one of the things that also makes us
Yeah.
special is, you know,
We can try unique stuff without it. Because, you know, like, it's not like, you know, the people that opened it were these, like, people that came out of this secular, you know, like,
Right.
Yeah.
way of doing things. We came out of a way that was, you know, built upon faith and even, you know, and we're part of faith-based programs. But, like, and are open enough to, like, it don't have to be like every other program.
Right.
And it don't have to be for every person
Right.
Yeah.
either. And that's okay, because I would rather be true to who we are,
Mhm.
and, you know, there be people that we can't serve and we have to refer somewhere else, and that's okay.
yeah.
I remember when we first opened, somebody on TikTok said, it was like the announcement video, and somebody was like, so are you going to offer all paths to recovery with da-da-da? And they said all this stuff, and I was like, no, we are going to be who God called us to be,
Yeah.
with, you know, unapologetically, and that's okay, because if there's, you know, things that people desire that is not what we offer,
Mhm.
the good news about the world is there's all kinds of programs, there's
Yeah.
all kinds of places people can go.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's wrong to, like, I think it's you being who God made you to be in all of your uniqueness that makes your, you know, program special, or whatever, you know, it is that's like, you know, appealing. And it's the same for everybody else too. It's like, you know, what they do in their program that they feel is the right thing. You have to live by your own convictions, and there's certain things that we just know we have to do. We
Yeah.
just-
That was like the big thing when we first opened, was breaking that, like, well, that's not how it was at blank. That's not how.
Yeah.
Well, this
Oh
isn't.
my
This
God.
isn't that place. This isn't
Yeah.
that place. But back to what Abby said, like, I was a little nervous when we, you know, were opening a treatment center in Vincent, Ohio. I didn't know how supportive or what that they would be.
the community.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we've had like Roseland Coffee Bar, you know,
Mhm.
donated
Donate.
for Thanksgiving, and
Yeah.
we were in the parade, and everybody was just so like welcoming, and
Can't
Yeah.
wait for that again.
Yeah, that parade
We're-
was pretty sweet.
we're renting a float.
Yeah.
But they've just been so good to us, and there's like, you know, those pages like what's happening and wherever, and
Yeah.
they're just supportive of
Yeah.
what
Are
we're
they?
doing.
You know all the scoop in
I do.
there.
I'm on there creeping.
What
Right?
they-
There was a wreck out there a couple weeks ago, and traffic was backed up. It was like right in front of the facility. And you know how people get like on those pages when there's a wreck, and they're
Mhm.
like, "What happened at such and such?" And so somebody was asking like, "What happened? Like, why is traffic held up?" And so people were commenting like, "There's a wreck in front of Angels Harbor," and
They know us.
Yeah. not that they obviously they drive by and see, but you know, it's just it's good. A lot of people saw that building sit empty for like 4 years or however long it was, quite a
Mhm.
while.
Yeah, it was a while.
So you know, I think that we were maybe worried, or not worried, but just knew that people
yeah.
there'd be backlash. But
Well,
there really wasn't.
because, you know, like, it wasn't that long ago. I'll tell the story. Back in 2016, there was these people, these two sisters that want to open a treatment center out in Beverly. And they asked me, they did a little town hall thing, and they asked me to come. I don't know why it was like such a setup now looking back. They asked me to come, like, look at, this is what it went like, too. They was like, can you come and talk to the people in the community? They have questions and all this stuff.
They
And
used you.
yeah, because it was like, you know, looking back now,
target.
kind of being ignorant. Then like, yeah, sure, I'll come in there. And then I went in there, and man, it was like everybody was firing shots at me, and it was like, whoa.
This isn't my treatment.
Yeah,
center.
they were
I'm
like,
here to tell you.
we don't want them criminals in our community. And then I was just like,
The community where we're at, they are like employing a
Yeah.
lot of our girls.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just amazing.
and it's
like,
not that far down the road, but also you got to think that was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just the mindsets of people have came a long
Yeah.
way since then. And then they would, you know, they were like, had these terrible, just things to say about, just people in general, even in recovery. And I was just like, wow, this would be hard to ever open anything here. Well,
Yeah.
fast forward 7 years, and we are 10 minutes down the road,
Yeah.
15 minutes,
Yeah.
down the road, and it's the community has been so embracing around there, and it's
Mhm.
like they really are supportive. There's, like you guys said, that they employ our girls,
Yeah.
and they've been just amazing. Like you guys just went to the high school,
Mhm.
and talked to, how many kids did you guys talk to that day?
Maybe like 20 or 30.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they just came through and you got
They-
to talk to them.
There was like probably 20 or 25. There was a lot of different like places from like all over the state, not just like this area. So they sent out like an email to all the students, and they got to sign up for things.
like whichever one they wanted to
Yeah,
go to.
and they got to choose there was 4 sessions that were 30 minutes long, so they got to choose 4 sessions.
Oh, wow.
And then if they didn't open their email and choose, then the guidance counselor chose for them. But
Very cool.
yeah, so it wasn't like, like an assembly, like talking to the whole class. It was more like
People that
one-on-one.
actually had, was it like job fair or what?
no,
Or it was like to
Our-
educate them about mental health and addiction?
and
or-
how to help somebody. Our topic was how to help somebody in addiction.
That's a
So
good
we got to
topic.
share what we did, and then we each shared like just a little bit about our testimony.
Wow.
We learned that day that we were not meant to be high school teachers.
Yeah.
They're
that's
tough.
They are hard
Yeah.
to crack. A couple of them, which is another just like stigma when you're a high schooler, and they have DARE and all the other drug programs where they come in and say like, just say no and don't do drugs, and drugs are bad.
Mhm.
And then you get people that come in, they're like, I used to do drugs and I don't do drugs now, so you shouldn't do drugs. And
Yeah.
have you ever tried drugs?
Yeah.
And then they don't want to tell you
Yeah.
because they're
Right.
worried that you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah. Well, and it's that whole, like I can remember being in school and people coming there and telling those stories, like, and at the time you're like,
Yeah.
whatever. And
Yeah.
you're just like, get on with it. And so, it's like, but also I think we've learned a lot since then too, that like, fear is not the tactic that will keep people
Yeah.
from actually using
Yeah.
drugs. What is healthy coping mechanisms,
Yeah.
actually being able to process through your emotions, not, like parents teaching their kids how to process through pain without having to go cover it up. And I think that's the stuff that, like can really keep your kids from, going down certain paths. It's like if we don't teach them coping skills, then guess what? They're going to cope with life however
Yep.
they cope with it. And
Yeah.
so it's, so much of that is just about those types of things.
Mhm.
Whereas, back then it was like morally wrong to use drugs. It was like you
Right.
were bad if you used drugs. Well, obviously we fast forward now and we know it's like, number one, we know it to be a spiritual problem, but also, this problem of like just not knowing how to navigate through certain things in life.
Yeah. And also like something that we wanted to hit, which we did while we were there, is if they knew somebody that was struggling, because at this point in time in 2023, at least I'm sure a lot of people know somebody in their family that struggled. So there was one person that like connected with Micah and said that he knew somebody that needed help. And so that was cool to
Yeah,
kind
that's
of,
cool.
because treatment options have changed drastically, even in like, I know for
5
sure in
years.
the last
Yeah.
5 and 10 years. So
Yeah.
when I, was still using treatment centers like locally that took Medicaid were unheard of. That wasn't even a
Yeah,
thing.
there's well, and if you think about it, even in the county, there's still not really,
Yeah.
like there's us and one other provider. So there's still not a lot of stuff
Yeah.
in that county. Now you cross over the river, there's about 87 different things you can go do.
Yeah.
So it's it's good, and so we we're getting close on our time, and this has been good. This has been a good conversation. I feel like like if you're a parent and you're watching this, just remember that as your kids are young, like start teaching them coping mechanisms soon, and I
Yeah.
think that you will see the fruit of that later in their life. And so it's good. Just say no. Just say no.
You remember signing that card
Yes.
in DARE where it's like, I pledge to never
I
use
know.
drugs.
And you have liars. Lies.
Lied.
But yeah, that's good. So yeah. So we'll be back on here in 2 weeks. But this Saturday at 6 o'clock, you can catch the girls for We Chose Life, and it will be awesome. We're proud of all of those women of God and everything that God's doing in their life, and we would love to connect with you. Also, we are hiring. We are looking for we're actually looking for a 3 to 11 resident tech, which is, what that job would entail would basically be you going to driving them to church or their, meetings they go to, etc. And so then we're looking for a Ohio certified peer supporter. We're looking for someone, preferably, at least at this point, female, that would work with our ladies that are in our transitional living, the Lighthouse. So if you know of anybody that would be interested in those jobs, or if you would be interested in those jobs, you can just send us a message, whether it be on Facebook, you can email us, or you can,
Stop by.
Yeah, you can stop by Angels Harbor or the Outpatient if you see cars there. And you can look on our Facebook page or Instagram or whatever, and there is actually, some graphics that tell you where to email your resume and all that good stuff. So, yeah, so it'll be good.
Also, the resident tech position is more than just driving. Somebody else asked me that one time. They were like, do I just drive people? I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's quite a bit more than that.
Yeah, and it's a good opportunity if you want to pour into women and,
Yeah, you just can't be scared to drive a 15 passenger.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to be.
And Abby and I drove them, and they were not bad.
Yeah, it's really not that bad. I think it's just more in your head. But yeah, and you're right. And it's like pouring into women. And in the evenings, you get more time really to do that. Whereas if you're on day shift, they're in group all day. So the evenings are a great time for that, and giving meds and all that fun stuff.
And how cool is it that you go to work and get paid to go to church and
Yeah.
go to events?
I know, right?
Go to
Hang
women's
out with
conferences and
Yeah, I wish
go
I
bowling.
got paid to do that.
They're going to the movies Friday.
Yeah.
They're going to the movies Friday. Yeah, I know. That'll be fun. They're going to see the new Jesus Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Pastor Greg Laurie, side note, that is an amazing man of God. And so I'm excited to see that movie, too. It'll be really good.
You going Friday?
We're going Saturday.
We're going to go on Saturday. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
And so, with that being said, we just want to thank you guys for hanging out with us for this time. We want to invite you to come back and join us this Saturday and 2 weeks from today. And also, if you know anybody looking for a job, send them our way. You guys be blessed. Let's pray it out. Father, we thank you for everything that you are doing at Angels Harbor. We thank you for everything that you're doing in the life of all of our staff, God, and all of our girls. And we just thank you for all that you have ahead. And God, we just thank you for the impact that's going to be seen on many people's lives. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.